PokerStatic.com. We bring you the interviews you want to hear. Now with your hosts, Bret Oliverio and Eric Bickel, the Poker Static Hot Seat.
What's up? Thanks for checking out a brand new edition of the Poker Static Hot Seat. Bret Oliverio, Eric Bickel, and joining us right now, I'm going to try to say his name correctly, Martin Fournier Jagiri, better known as Jiggy. Of course, he's an instructor at BlueFirePoker. What's up, Jiggy?
Doing good. Very good. You?
Did I do okay with your name, or did I totally
yeah, I think it was your best try, actually. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, I was practicing a couple times before we went on air, so hopefully I didn't botch it too much. But
no, it was good.
Thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
Now Jiggy is one of the lead instructors at Blue Fire, as you mentioned. Of course, we love Blue Fire. That's Phil's training site. And, we just actually met him recently, a couple weeks ago, when we were there sweating Jason Sentai at the final table. And I thought, when we met Jiggy, that he was sweating Jason too. No! He had a piece of Jonathan Duhamel, who won the whole joint. He had 5% of it. He had a real sweat going, baby. Congratulations.
I was sweating for Jason too, a bit.
A little.
I wouldn't have, yeah, a little. Not as much, but still, I would have liked it if you won, but not as much as Jonathan.
So
yeah, that was pretty sick.
Talk about how that all developed. I want to hear about the whole day. I mean, I read your blog about it, but for people that haven't read your blog, how does your friendship with Jonathan, how does that go back? When did you guys, start swapping action with each other? Go into the whole thing.
I've known Jonathan for, around 3 years or something. We've met from, he's from Montreal, I'm from Quebec City. We've met just into, some forums and stuff, and met in real life, and I don't know, a lot of Quebec poker players are all close together, and I swap regularly, and we sell action, to every big tournament we go. I sell pieces, he sell pieces, to pretty much everyone in the community, and I wasn't the only one who had 5% of him. He just swapped around 45% of his action in 5% shares. And yeah, I ended up just getting lucky that he shipped the whole thing, having swapped with a good guy. But yeah, we're a pretty big community of friends basically who play poker in Quebec, and that makes for some intense, great moments like that.
Wow. And
basically, if you do the math, I mean, you made, and we were talking about this sort of off the air before we went on, you made more money in 5% sweat than most people make in, say, 5 years, 6 years. I mean,
yeah.
How unbelievable is that?
I think it's more ridiculous than unbelievable for what it's worth. I really think I can't find any other stupider way to make money. Because, winning the lottery, you win the lottery yourself, not someone else. I was just there, doing absolutely nothing, and making money is just, it's absurd, but I'll take it for sure.
Now, I know you talked about this in your blog, and Bret and I actually struggled with this. We were like, okay, we really want Jason to do well, and we want to go out there and support him, but, man, it's boring when you don't know the hole cards. What are we going to do? So all we did was just get drunk, because I didn't know what else to do. And I saw you there. You had a cocktail in your hand, right? When you go and sweat these final tables and you don't know the hole cards, it's kind of boring, right?
No, it's not kind of boring. It's awful. It's a disaster. The problem is you're stuck there because it's boring for 6 hours straight. And then you get one big intense moment, and every time you can't go I'm going to get dinner or something, because you can't miss that moment. So you're just there, and yeah, being drunk is probably the best way to endure it.
Huh. Now,
of course we're gonna get into your story, because your story is unbelievable. I mean, you're just basically printing money, which is insane. But talk about what type of player Jonathan is. Is he?
He's.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he's really, really aggressive player. He's a cash game player, like cash games, mid-stakes grinder. He grinds for, I think he was like before the hit from 2-4 to 10-20 playing those games. And yeah, he's super aggressive, makes some big bluffs, and he can spaz too. He can spaz pretty hard from time to time, but all in all, he's really good. And I think it's helped him a lot during the whole course of the tournament, of course.
Is he a winner online? Long term?
Yeah, he is. He definitely is. He's been a pro online winner, grinder, most specifically on Euro sites. And there's been talk that, he's not winning that much, and some of his screen names have been put up and then checked on table ratings and stuff. And it was like 30K hands played, and he was losing a bit, but he mostly plays on Euro sites, so he doesn't get like the credibility or the knowledge ability that someone who plays on Stars or Full Tilt does.
Right. If you had to handicap, I mean, now it's already aired and everything, but if you had to handicap the 9 players, who were the top 2 or 3 at the table?
I'd go with, unless I'm forgetting someone, and I mean, I'm judging from not that big of a hand sample, and I don't even have all the whole cards, so it's pretty tough to judge. But I do think that Jason, for sure, I think Jason was the best player, but he didn't have like any time or whatever to show it. And then Joseph and Jonathan were like, that's the top 3 in my mind. And then, I don't know, it's tough to put them in an order. And then for all the rest of them, I just don't know. I think those 3 are better than the rest of the field, basically.
Right. I know
Let me ask you about that. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to ask you about when it got to heads up, because Bret and I were talking about it, and it's funny. I don't think either Bret or I watched the heads up part when they aired it, because we had left at that point. But Bret was telling me from reading the hand history, it seemed like, and then from reading your blog, Racner just kind of limped away from the button, right? Like a classic mistake, right?
It was kind of weird.
I don't understand.
It could be good at some stack sizes, but he was playing for the most part of the heads up at a 23 to 40 big blind stack size. And I think it's one of the very worst stack sizes to just limp in on your button. And especially, I mean, it could be good from time to time. I mean, it's not like a definite fact that, limping the button is bad. And I would recommend it from time to time. Let's say you know that you have a gigantic hedge on your opponent and he's just a fish and you just want to keep the pot small and etc. But I really don't think that Racner could say that about Jonathan. And I just don't get why he did that. He probably thought that he had like a big post-flop edge. Otherwise, I just don't see the reason. But he probably underestimated Jonathan a bit, and it ended up, I mean, and Racner was just like, if you go ahead and do that, you have to play super aggressively post-flop because you're going to be seeing pretty much every flop in position. So you have to take down most of the pots there. Do it any way you want. You just have to take down the pots. And he wasn't firing that much. It was more just like one bullet and then folding to any further aggression. So that was kind of weird. That was kind of unexpected. We expected him to play a bit more aggressive in the heads up. But it worked well for Jonathan, and he just pretty much grinded him away. But I don't want to be mean to Racner either. I mean, we don't see all the old cards, so he might. I mean, it's not that many hands, and he might have just been absolutely card dead. Negate the fact that he limped the button, being like so passive post flop. If he had no equity, no spots basically whatsoever in the heads up. I mean, it's tough to judge with that small of a size sample.
Mm-hmm. Now you mentioned that Jonathan can spew at times, and I'm thinking back on a couple of the hands. You know, he loses Ace-King versus Racner's Ace-Queen for a ton of chips, and so, you know, he went from being chip leader, overwhelming chip leader, then he's fifth in chips out of 5, and Grinder moves all in on him with pocket 3s, and he tanks, and then finally calls with Ace-9 offsuit. Was that the right call in that situation, or was he just tilting and spewing a little bit?
No, he definitely was not tilting or spewing, that's for sure. I mean, he would have made the call, I think, under any conditions. Maybe a little bit, like maybe it's going to play in your head for sure. The stage is so big and all this stuff. But I really don't think it was tilt. I think it's a very close spot, and I would lean towards folding because of a tournament position. In cash games with that many big blinds in the blind battle, it's definitely called. It's not even close. But here, with the ICM in play, and especially with the fact that I think Grinder plays, I don't think Grinder is going to be the type of guy to like ship something like Queen Jack here. I think he's going to just flat a lot more in position, and I don't think that he's that aggressive pre-flop either on his like shoving range. I don't think he's shoving like ace-5 offsuit for sure and stuff like that. So your equity is not that good. I think it chips, it's going to be plus EV, but not enough to like put your tournament life on the line basically with 5 players left and the payouts getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, I think ICM wise, I think it was a fold, but I mean we would have to calculate it. In my mind, I think it's a fold. It's close, and for to calculate it properly, we would need like Grinder's shoving range here, which is pretty tough to have like super correct basically.
Right.
How do you explain Grinder's success, particularly in the World Series? Because, you know, he had a couple dry years there, and he's clearly a great live player. He's got these results, but, you know, if you talk to some of the online guys, they're not necessarily going to rank him particularly high. How do you explain his success?
I mean, he's certainly not a bad player, and he probably, there's that thing with, like, all the live players and all the kind of hate that online players have for live players and saying that, okay, they're not that good. But I think those players have, those live pros have the ability to exploit weak players, especially live with tells and stuff, much more than not any online guy, but than most online guys. And when you get into a field like the main event, you run into very soft tables, and I'm pretty sure that Grinder just can steamroll those tables with his abilities. When he runs into tougher competition, maybe his like mathematics game is not quite up to the online player's game when you get into a really tough table. But I think Grinder all in all is still a very good poker player for sure. And he's had success too because he can play all the games, and he won the mixed games event, and he final tabled a couple of other things too. So I mean, he's definitely better at those games than most online guys. So
take us sort of into the situation after Jonathan wins a main event. I mean, your 5% sweat comes through for 450K, whatever it is. And then you guys, I guess the Rio provides for the champion, like just a big-ass suite to party in. And I'm looking at your blog on BlueFirePoker.com right here, and you have pictures of it. And, I mean, they provide a huge, like, seafood spread. I mean, I don't even know how big that suite is. Sort of talk about that night after he won it.
Yeah, we were a big bunch. We were, like, around, I guess, 100 people who came down to Vegas to sweat for Jonathan. And, yeah, just after he won, basically, they opened us the suite. And we just got there, open bar, buffet and stuff, and started drinking and just enjoying the moment. I mean, it was so surreal, like it's something you dream of. And every single year, it's like, it seems to be like an unknown who wins, and you dream of it, but you don't ever think that you could do it or a close friend of yours could do it. And just to be there and to be a part of it and to, I don't know, to witness like the biggest stage of poker basically and win it all. It's not like you finished third or second. You just won it. It was amazing. It was totally surreal. So yeah, we just got there, drank, and basically talked about how sick it was for like the whole night. That's pretty much it.
Well, let's
probably.
Go ahead, Bret.
No, I was going to say it's probably the same thing we would do.
For sure.
I wanted to ask you about how the payouts work, because he wins, what, $8.5 million? You get 5% of that. I mean, if it were me, I'd be sort of itching to get my 450 plus K. You know, I'd be like, dude, come on, let me get it. What's the dynamic there? How do you actually go about getting your money?
For what it's worth, I don't know yet. I don't even know how Jonathan got paid. I mean, he probably didn't go out of the Rio with like a huge bag with the dollar sign on it. So I guess he ordered a check or something, and I guess he will get us to like give us our money, write us a check or something like that when he gets it. But yeah, I'm not itching that much to get the money. Not like I'm gonna spend it like tomorrow. It's not I mean, I don't need it to do my groceries or whatever, so I can be patient on that. And I think that's the case for all the other swappers too. And even Jonathan, I mean, it's not that stressful. I mean, we're gonna get the money. That's the important thing.
Right. Well, let's talk about your story a little bit and how you got to where you are. You started playing cash games, I believe, in about 2006, correct? And I think are you only 24 years old right now?
I'm 23, actually.
He's only 23. Oh, my God. All right, so you start in 2006, so I don't know, you're 19-ish, something like that. And you start like most of the guys, you're playing 50 cents a dollar, and then I don't know, how long before you start killing it?
I played, tough to say, like, I started actually playing tournaments with my good friend Take Chip. He kind of brought me into like the online games and stuff, and he was making the tournaments run at the beginning, and I started making some money with him, like swapping percentages with him. So I kind of built a bankroll that way, and then he made me realize basically that the money was in cash games and that there was something to do there. So I started playing, like you said, 50 cents a dollar, with basically like, I had an absurdly aggressive game. Like, that's how I knew. I knew how to bluff, and that's it. And I was making mistakes, like, nonstop. But I knew how to be aggressive. And at some point, I was kind of breaking even for, I don't know, a couple of months. And at some point, I started discovering the forums and meeting some new people who had more cash game experience. So I tried to settle down and analyze the game a lot more. And from it, I started from a point at some point that, okay, I'm going to work a lot on my game. And when I started working on my game, I think in all modesty, I started, like, crushing at 50 cents a dollar and then moving up. I moved up pretty slowly, actually, because I'm a very huge bankroll net. I'm ridiculous on that. But at every level that I played, basically, I wanted to be sure that I was, like, pretty much the best around to move up to the other levels. So I took my time and moved 50 cents a dollar, and then 1-2, then 2-4 for a while, and then I'm now at playing like 5-10, 10-20, and some 25-50, basically.
What exactly does working on your game mean? Are you studying the forums? Are you meeting with people, crunching the numbers? How many hours per week are you working on it? How exactly do you go about doing that?
I'm actually extremely lucky, and I've been extremely lucky in my career because I know personally a lot of great players, and I think we have that in Quebec. For our population, we have like a concentration of really, really good players that is awesome. That might be maybe not compared to Sweden, but maybe some of these countries. So I develop my game by talking a lot with these players, by just talking strategy, analyzing a lot. I was watching the forums too. For what it's worth, I was using the forums at some point more to see what like all the other regs were thinking, how they were all thinking. I would go to mid-stakes forums on 2+2 and watch what was the new trend basically in poker, because everyone would come up with like, oh, you can now turn hands into a bluff. And then there was like a big trend developing and everyone was playing the same way, and the trend would just like switch to something else every 2 months, and I would just like watch the forums to see how was the like general level of thinking of players. Oh, sorry. Don't feel bad.
All right. Hey, if that's Jonathan, you got to answer it.
No, it's not. But yeah, I was using the forums for that, but mostly to work on my own game. I'm not like a big hand reviewing guy, and I'm not a big maths guy either. I'm not good. Like, I wouldn't know where to start to do maths and stuff. So what I did is talk to people basically and watch some forums and find people that were better than me and learn from them. That's pretty much the biggest thing I've done to work on my game, and play a lot. I used to play a whole lot, and I loved playing, so that helped, and I used to try to think about every single spot when I played, and I got better from that too.
What were some of the mistakes that you were making early on? Because, you know, we've been playing for years, and I'm sure I'm still making some of the mistakes that you corrected a month or two in today. What were some of those?
Tough to recall. I was just playing bad, actually. It's not like it's a specific mistake or whatever. It's just not being able to adapt to the situation. I had, like, big game plan in my mind of, like, okay, I'm going to 3-bet everybody, and then I'm going to bluff my stack every single hand. And that's all I knew, basically. And it was working from time to time, but at some other points it was just bad. And it's, I think, I think that's a big problem in general of people like stuck at smaller stakes, is that they're always looking for some magic way to unlock their game, or a magic theorem that will make them open their eyes and then they're going to become good. It's not about that. It's about thinking right about the game. And I mean, it's not like at some point it clicked in my head and I was like, oh, now I can play, I understand something really great. It's more much like I gradually kept getting better and better and reading hands better and then being able to adapt to the players and the situations better. So I was making all sorts of mistakes basically, and I'd say if I had to say one mistake, I was not adapting to my opponents and to the situations well enough.
Now, talk about your playing style, because just reading about you, apparently it's ultra aggressive. You're a hyper aggressive player. Was that something that was just in your personality? Did you learn that from other players as you were coming up?
Yeah, I actually learned that way. I got taught poker by my good friend Take Chibalat, and he was playing that way back then, and he taught me 3-bet every blind and then C-bet and then go broke on every flop. Just barrel up and they're gonna be folding. So I learned that way. So that's pretty much why I still have that very aggressive style. But I think it is in my personality too, because when I started playing at all with friends and basements and stuff, I would just never fold. I would just try to bluff every people, and I just find it more fun, to be honest. I mean, I could probably go ahead and develop an easier game and play not straightforward, but play tighter and be probably just as good that way. But I would just find it boring because I like playing the aggressive style, and I started that way, and I worked on that way specifically. So that's pretty much why, I guess.
Now, I think that today you're basically, just from looking you up online, it looks like your primary game these days is the 5-10 game. So you've gone from 50 cents a dollar, I don't know, Poker Table Ratings has about 750,000 hands that you've just been killing at 5-10. How long did it take you to get from 50 cents a dollar to 5-10? Was that a year or 2 years? And what was the most difficult?
Something I'd say if I start from the very beginning when I started playing cash games and I was stuck at 50 cents a dollar for a while because I wasn't good at it, maybe 3 years or something like that, 2 years and a half.
Wow. Between
2 and 3 years. I'm not good with that. I'm not sure actually, but in that range. And like I said before, I took my time. I didn't I had not a 20 buy-in rule or something like that, that when I would get there, I would move up and stuff. I was just taking my time and just making sure that I was absolutely certain that I was good enough for the next level, basically.
Right. And then why did you stop, though? I mean, I look at you, your graph goes straight up. You got a 98 on the little thermometer thing there on Poker Table Ratings. Why not go up to 10, 20, 25, 50 and keep going?
Because I can't handle the variance, because I'm a total fish about that, and that's the other reason why I was such a bankroll nit, because I have problems with losing, basically, and I've worked on that quite a lot, but in the beginning it was pretty much ridiculous, and I know it, and I would love to be able to say that, okay, I don't care about variance, and I can just grind it out and don't care when I lose or stuff, but that's not how I work. I have those physical reactions where I have to break something or stuff. So I just try to keep my general level of stress to a minimum, and I figured out that playing 25-50 or higher wouldn't make me happy, even if I think happier, basically. Even if I think that I would make more money out of it, it would definitely not bring me more happiness, because I would be more stressed and more variance and losing more often. So I decided that 5, 10, 10, 20 was a very good compromise, basically.
Yeah, and how do you handle that? How much sort of puts you on tilt? I mean, when you go to bed, if you're down 15, 20,000, is it tough for you to sleep at night? How is it for you emotionally to handle losing days, big losing days?
Actually, it's not. It's pretty much on the moment. When I stop grinding, I might be an hour feeling really, really pissed off if I lost a lot. But it's going to go away after that. But when I'm grinding, I'm I have tough time controlling my emotions. So, and of course, if I went to play higher, like above my comfort level, it would be much, much worse. But yeah, in my general life, I don't think it affects it that much. But in like my poker life and stuff, I just scream and like hit stuff and break stuff. I'm a lot better than I used to be. I'm a whole lot better than I used to be, but still, it's something that I'm still working on.
Yeah, I'm reading in my notes here that you actually broke your hand in a tilt rage over a hand. I mean, is that true? And do you remember the hand? What was the hand?
Yeah, I totally did. I was playing like 5-10, and it was in the beginning of me playing 5-10, so I was kind of stressed and more prone to tilt, let's say. And there was that really, really bad railer who like kept scouting on me. And I never ever berate people in chat, but I had to berate that guy. And he offered me a heads-up challenge at 10-20 for 4 tables, and I obviously accepted it. And then I went up there and I just got destroyed in like 30 minutes, I think, from variance basically. But still, it was higher than my usual game. And I was getting pretty pissed off because I lost like 10 to 15 buy-ins like 30 minutes. So at some point I was like, okay, I need to take a break. I typed to the guy, okay, like I'm going to be back in 5 minutes. And then I had to break something like to get my mind right. So I was grinding in like my grinding room. So I decided, okay, I've got to go in the garage because I don't want to break anything important. And then I went to the garage and I was like, okay, I'm going to make it like big, nice hole in the wall. But I certainly don't want to punch into a stud. It was like calculated tilt. So I decided to give it a big kick to the wall to make sure there's not a stud there. So I make a big kick and there's that pretty nice hole still in the garage wall. So I decided, okay, I'm going to punch just like straight above that, like a feet above that, and right into a horizontal stud. I didn't know that our garage had horizontal stud. So I punched the hardest I could, and the wall didn't even like think about moving or whatever. And it hurt a lot on the moment. It hurt a lot, but I think I had so much adrenaline that I didn't think much of it. And then I went back to grinding, and then after like 5 minutes with the adrenaline going down, it started like feeling really weird in my hand, and I started like feeling kind of bones moving and stuff, and I was like, oh shit, what did I do? That might be dumb. And I had to go to the hospital, and I got an operation the day after to get my hand replaced with metal and stuff. So yeah, I'm not too proud of this one, but it's always a good story to tell.
Did you have health insurance?
Yeah, but it's pretty much free in Canada. I'm up in Canada.
Oh,
so
that's right.
That's
right. Gotcha.
When you're grinding these days, what's your setup? Like, how many tables are you playing? Are you mostly playing 6 max? Do you use a Hold'em manager, things of that nature?
I'm playing normally from 12 to 15 tables, mostly 6 max and some full ring. Using Hold'em manager for sure on every table. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty much it. 12 to 15 tables depending on how fast I can think that day and how fast I can keep up. And yeah, 5-10 or 10-20 tables that I see that look good on stars or tilt, and I'm in my big rocking like lazy boy and on my 30-inch, and I grind from there. That's pretty much it.
Now, do you have other distractions? Because I've noticed, just being a small stakes kind of guy, that I really, at this point, if I really want to concentrate, I can't listen to like some sort of online radio thing. I can't have the TV on. I can't surf the net. It really does hurt my play. Is that the same for you?
Kind of, but we have this thing here because I live in a house with 3 of my friends, and there's always people coming and going, and sometimes it's tough to grind because like we're all set up in the basement and everyone's there. Some people are grinding, some people are talking or watching TV or stuff. So yeah, sometimes it's tough to stay concentrated when there's so many people around. But I've learned to work on that. I'm definitely not like surfing the web or whatever. I just like put some music on, and if there's too much distraction, I just up the volume, put my headphones on, and I grind from there. I definitely don't want to like start texting or like chatting or anything. I think I start doing it from time to time, and after 5 minutes I realize that okay, I just can't keep up, and I'm playing like a total retard every single time I try that. So keeping those distractions to a minimum, I think, is an absolute must when you grind.
Now, you talked earlier about being a bankroll nit. What are sort of the rules you follow?
I would move up when I was comfortable playing the upper limit. At some point, I had like a 150k bankroll, and I was still playing 2-4. It was all in my bankroll, and I just didn't feel comfortable playing higher than that. And I was like in my comfort zone and just grinding and just crushing at 2-4. So I would just keep doing that. And at some point in my head, I would just go, okay, it's time to, like, you're losing your time. Just move up and just play a bit higher. So I just didn't have any kind of rules or whatever. Just when I felt like it, I would move up. And I pretty much never moved back down because I took my time so much that every time I would move up, I knew it was like for good and that I was able to beat the higher games. It's not something that I would recommend to most of the people because I think I lost a lot of money / time doing it. But it's definitely something that worked, I think, best for me because otherwise I would probably have died of stress and being a retard tilt dunk.
Did you notice significant differences in the levels, like say from 2-4 to 5-10 or 2-4 to 3-6?
It's pretty gradual, I think. I think there's quite a step to be made from 2-4 to 5-10. I never played 3-6 actually. That's a funny thing because I hated like moving up so much because it would stress me so much that I decided at some point that, okay, let's fuck 3-6. I'm just going to move up to 5-10 right away. So I'm going to I don't have to move up 2 times. I just have to move up once. So yeah, the biggest step that I noticed is definitely from 2-4 to 5-10. But it's probably just gradual. There's not like that limit that you can't achieve because people are so much better at it. I mean, people are better at 2-4 than they are at 1-2, and they're better at 5-10 than they are at 3-6, and I think it just goes up with some tweaks in it, but yeah, nothing special there.
Now, obviously, your results speak for themselves. One of the best 5-10 players in the world, but we were talking to a guy, Leatherass, not too long ago. He's told us he's gone like 60-some months or, I don't know, 50-some months without having a losing month. Is that the same type of player you are, or do you have maybe a month or two where you will lose money?
Kind of. I've had a couple of months where I lost money, but in like the last 3 years, not a lot, maybe like 2 months where I finished down, or maybe a month in there that I played like, I don't know, 5,000 hands and finished down because I was just lazy. But yeah, I'm pretty much the same kind of player, just a grinder, comfortable at my stakes, and not swinging too much, basically. I know that's pretty boring, but I could make up some stories of DJ and high-stakes gambling, but I just don't have that in me.
No, that's what we actually strive for. We want to see consistent month-to-month winning. That's awesome. How did you come to the attention of Blue Fire and Phil Galfond? How did that relationship develop?
I got approached by pretty much every training site out there because I was, people were talking about me because I had been playing at 2-4 for a long while, and I was definitely the biggest winner at 2-4 at that time. And I was playing a style that nobody else was playing, and I made a video for a Quebec forum community where they had a video site totally free, and some of my friends too made some videos there. So I made a video for them totally free because I wanted to, and people noticed that, and then people started talking about me. Oh, that video, like, we don't understand any word that he's saying, but he's playing pretty good. That's pretty sick what he's doing. So it got to every training site out there, and I got contacted by Bill and Phil at that point for Blue Fire, and I decided to go that way.
And what was it? What made you decide? Like, what was it about Phil? What was it about Blue Fire? What did you liked about it?
Probably the fact at the time that I decided to go with Blue Fire, I didn't know that Galfond was going to be there. If I had known that before, I would just have snapped Blue Fire without any question. But I think it's the challenge of opening a new site and being part of the opening coaches and being such a small group of coaches. So being able to not be a coach among so many others, just being able to kind of build my own brand by being part of starting site and try to get that from the ground and rise it up. That was that challenge, I think, that attracted me the most.
What is it about Phil? I'm sorry, Bret. And then what is it about Phil that everybody just absolutely, when they hear his name, they're like, oh, I got to work with him. I mean, hell, we even did it. You know, we were doing our own thing, and Phil approached us, and we're like, Phil Galfond approaches. We got to work with him. Why is it? What is it about Phil? He's obviously a generous guy and he's a brilliant mind. But I don't know. What is it about Phil Galfond?
I don't know either. I think everyone has to have like the maximum respect for Phil Galfond. I've never ever met someone who doesn't have like I said, maximum respect for him, because just the way he speaks and just the way he acts himself, like he's so modest, so humble, and he lets his results speak for themselves. And he's such a good teacher too. Every time the couple of articles that I've read from him are like legendary articles, basically. So I don't know, you have to respect the guy, and just by watching him, I mean, he was the kind of guy that I wanted to become poker-wise, and I think being a person that way is just a role model to most people, and the fact is you can't say anything bad about Phil Galfond. Unfortunately, I would like to say something bad about him, but I just wouldn't be able. So I think pretty much everyone feels that way. That's pretty much, I think, why everyone wants to work with him.
Well, I wanted to ask you, I wanted to ask you, why even make videos? I mean, obviously you have the money, the results. Why spend the time? Why give away some of your secrets? Is it something where you just wanted to share your knowledge? You wanted the steady income? Why exactly do you do it?
It's definitely not for the income. I would say it's much, much more for the love of teaching to other people, and I wanted to make something that I would feel like would be a bit more useful than just grinding, because at some point when you just grind and play poker, you're just making money for yourself. And I feel like every time I get some feedback from guys who watch my videos and they're like, oh, your video helped me so much, move up in stakes, thank you, Jiggy, and all those stuff, it all absolutely makes my day every single time. So I wanted to do it for the challenge too of doing something different. And yeah, because I love teaching and I love seeing the evolution of people that I'm teaching to. So yeah, that's pretty much for it.
Who are some of the other like coaches there that you really respect, whose videos that you watch? Do you just love them all?
For what it's worth, I never, before I started making videos, I had never watched a video ever. For no reason. I just find them, I don't know, I just can't watch a video. It's too long and too boring for me, and my mind goes away after 5 minutes. I would like to be able to watch them because they're really useful, but I just can't. But when I started making some, I actually, the only videos that I watch, full videos that I watch, are the one Galfond made, so I would go with Galfond, and I've never watched more than 5 or 10 minutes of anyone else's video, so I couldn't comment. I just don't know. But Galfond is definitely doing a superb job.
Right.
Teaching.
When they approached you, did you have to have a sit down with the Godfather? Did you have to sit there and have a strategy talk with Phil, or pass the muster on any level, or no? No,
not really. It was much more like Bill from BlueFire definitely did a good job of selling his product. He's a shark, so I got into it, and he just told me, okay, you make your stuff, you make your videos, and we'll comment after that. And then I made some videos, and then Galfond helped me a bit to, okay, you should do that a bit more and that a bit less. But they pretty much gave me full freedom. Just do what you want, do what you think will be useful for everyone. And that's what I did, basically, and that's what I pretty much shall do.
What about PLO? I mean, have you made that transition? Are you going to leave No Limit Hold'em behind?
No.
Or are you just going to stick to your bread and butter?
I'm told never play PLO. I'm total PLO fish. Yeah, the only time I actually played PLO is the other time I was doing nothing with Take Chip, and he was like, hey, let's play Heads Up PLO, but he's pretty good at it, and I've never played it, and for some reason I accepted, and we played 5-10 deep, which was really dumb, and after 20 minutes I was stuck 10 buy-ins, and I was like, why am I even doing that? I mean, I've got good poker concepts and basics, so I can manage my way out of it, but I don't know any maths or anything about PLO. But 30 minutes later, I was up 10 buy-ins, 20 buy-in swing in 30 minutes, and I realized that, okay, this game is just too dumb. I'm never going to play that. I can't handle the variance of No Limit Hold'em, so PLO, pretty much no chance that I try to become really, really good at it. Because if I want to pick it up at some point, I would try to become great at it, but I probably won't.
Right. Is there still a lot of room for new players to come to the game and make money in No Limit Hold'em?
Definitely, but I think it's a lot more restricted than it used to be. If you go back like 2 or 3 years ago, you could take pretty much anyone. I think anyone could make a good living out of poker, move up just by watching videos or reading forums, develop like a super good ABC game, not being even able to think by themselves, and they could make a good living out of poker for sure. But nowadays, it's getting tougher. It is, and at every single limit. And I think you do need a minimum of talent to try to make a living out of it, to go ahead and become good. But it's still very, very possible for a lot of guys, and there are still guys who can start at lower stakes and move up, because, I mean, if there are guys who can beat 5, 10, 10, 20, and even like 50, 100 right now, you can start from scratch and learn quickly and go there. It's definitely possible.
Hey, talk about the mansion that you bought with all your 2-4 and 5-10 no limit money. You went in and bought it with your boy Take Chip. I think that's his name, correct?
Yeah, it is. It's not. I wouldn't call it a mansion. It's just a house. It's pretty much the first thing I bought with my poker monies, because I definitely wanted to like have a roof if anything happens, because it's still gambling and you still have that doubt in the back of your mind. Okay, will I do that for that long and stuff? So I wanted to buy a house before anything else, and I got with my friend and we bought one here, and we are renting rooms to two other friends, basically. So we're living for it. It's not like that big, but it's pretty comfortable. And like I said, it was the most important thing for me to buy. And then after that, I just didn't care that much.
How do you determine what money to kind of cash out and invest and spend on life things versus how much to keep in your bankroll?
I would just go as I feel. I mean, like I said, I wanted to buy a house, so that was a definite goal. And then I tried to set myself some goals to, like, things I want to get, because if I just go with a goal of, okay, I'm going to try to pile up money, then it's tough for me to get some motivation. So I recently got a condo in Florida, and I wanted to have one there with all the old crisis stuff, and I think it was a good investment opportunity. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to try to go ahead and grind to get that, and when I get the money to have that, I just withdraw it and spend it. But I usually just withdraw what's too much in my bankroll, and yeah, that's pretty much it. No specific rules once again.
Did you buy the condo in Florida?
Yeah, I did.
What part of Florida?
In Hallandale, just between Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Ah, very nice.
It's to flee from the horrible Quebec winters and play more golf.
Ah, very nice.
I'm really pretty happy with that.
Very nice.
Wow, that's awesome.
Very
hey, before we let you go, I want to hear about your Alexander Ovechkin story, because we're from Washington, D.C., and he's a huge star here, maybe even a bigger star for up in Canada, to tell you the truth. But you ran into him at a club in Vegas, and I was reading your blog, and I don't know, I thought the story was freaking hilarious. So why don't you tell it?
Actually, it's more of a story that could have been, but that was not. But, the story that still happened is still pretty funny. We went to a club. I think it was to the Jet, or, Excess or something like that. Yeah, probably. And then at that point, we're already pretty drunk, and then we get in the lineup for booze, because boots, because we already had reserved one. So we get there, and right in front of us, there's Alex Ovechkin in the lineup, and being from Canada and from Quebec, we're obviously big hockey fans and big Alex Ovechkin fans. So I'm like, hey, wow, that's Alex Ovechkin. I have to shake his hand. And I tap on his shoulder and he shakes my hand and he's pretty cool about it. But then the bouncer wouldn't let him go in the club because he was in shorts and wearing flip-flops. And we were trying to convince the bouncer that, like you don't have to care. It's fucking Alex Ovechkin. Like, he's going to pin, I don't know, $1 million tonight and he's going to bring everyone in. But they're from Vegas in the middle of the desert, so they're probably not thinking the same way about Alex Ovechkin than we do. So Ovechkin was about to go, and we're like, no, you can't go out like that. You can't refuse him in the bar. And I'm like, hey, Alex, come back here. I'm going to give you my shoes, and I'm going to buy the doorman's shoes so everyone can get in. And, like, the doorman's like, no, I'm not selling you my shoes. I'm giving you, like, $200 for your shoes. Okay, sold. So he's, like, standing there in his socks with his shoes in his hand, ready to sell them to me. And Ovechkin's, like, turning around, and he's with a bunch of his friends. He's like, oh, no, thanks, we're going to go elsewhere. So that kind of sucked. Like, it could have been some epic night where I could have, like, gave my shoes to Alex Ovechkin, but still pretty funny, but still a bit disappointing.
Awesome.
Were people hounding him, or was it just sort of you and your friends?
Pretty much just me and my friend, for what it's worth. He was with, I would guess, like a lot of Russian friends, because they did look a lot Russian and not hockey players at all, and there wasn't many people in the lineup. And I think that in Vegas, I mean, he's still a pretty big star, but he's not as big of a star than he is up here in Canada. So, yeah, it was pretty relaxed, and no, he wasn't attacked by big hordes of freaking fans like us.
I assume he had a lot of chicks with him.
A lot of what?
A lot of women.
No, actually, none at all.
All
he was
guys.
just with some Russian guys, friends. I mean, he was probably going there to solve that problem, actually.
Oh, yeah. It's probably not tough.
Right.
Hey, what about you? Do you have a girlfriend? And does she know what you do?
No, not really. No, I'm a single poker player, like so many others.
And you like that, or what?
Yeah, that's a big good thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's kind of nice, but I mean, I wouldn't, like, spit on a girlfriend, like, on the idea of having one, not on the actual girlfriend. But it just turns out that way that I'm single for now, yes.
When you run into people
Nice.
and they ask you what you do, you say poker player, or do you come up with some other name?
I'm usually, unless we're in, like, really drunk stage where we are inventing lives in bars, I usually just say poker players, because in my mind, I mean, I think it kind of puts you, like, away from the rest of the people. You're just, like, you're not one of the rest. You're something kind of, like, not special, but you're something else. So that's pretty cool. And, I mean, if I am to care about someone at a point in my life, and if they are to care about me, if I get to know them better or whatever, every person that I meet, I mean, I cannot, like, go ahead and start a relationship by lying to them that, oh, yeah, I go to school and stuff, and then they discover after that, oh, you're a poker player. I just go straight up. I'm a poker player. That's what I do. And, like, leave it or take it. I don't care if you don't like that. If you like that, that's cool. We can talk about it. But, yeah, that's the way I approach it.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, so if people want to follow up with you, obviously, your videos are on BlueFire. Your blog is on BlueFire. Anything else you want to promote?
No, not really. I'm not doing anything else that interesting, I guess.
Coaching? If people are you accepting students or no?
No, I'm not taking private students right now. I decided not to take any for a while because it, like, cut down a lot in my playing time, because I was making videos and then coaching, and then I just didn't want to grind after that because I had too much poker in me. So I decided to cut down on the coaching, so I'm grinding more of it.
Gotcha.
All right, well, listen, thanks for coming on the Poker Static Hot Seat. Congratulations on your 5%. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Not like I did anything good to get that, but thank you. It's just, it's winning the lottery. So, yeah, thank you.
Seriously, and you're crushing 510. You're 23 years old. You own a couple homes, so much respect. And thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that a lot.
See you, buddy.
See ya. Thanks.